Wayne, good morning. If you were to guess as to, Johnny Bag of Donuts' average Mets fan and his or her reaction to losing deGrom but gaining Verlander, Quintana, and Senga, does that fan feel better about those moves, or would they rather have their guy deGrom back in the fold?
Yeah, I think they're fine with it for the most part. This team has spent a lot of money, and I think for a lifelong Mets fan, it's something that they're getting used to. They need to see this over and over again to really feel like this is real life. But the Mets have spent a lot of money now the last couple off seasons, and to get Max Scherzer a year ago, Justin Verlander now, I mean, the commitment to winning from Steve Cohen is huge. And Kodai Senga, the latest in that group to come in and join the Mets rotation. So I think that Mets fans believe that Steve Cohen's for real. He wants to win, and that they're going to spend enough money to do whatever it takes to get there. And certainly they've done that to this point.
So what's Verlander to expect coming to New York that he may not know?
He knows. I mean, he's been around a long time. He knows what a passionate fan base it is. He knows how loyal that this group of fans are. And he knows that it's ultimately a pitcher's ballpark that he's coming to at Citi Field, that he should be able to have success in. It's not exactly a place where the ball flies. And I think Verlander is coming to an area and a team. He wants to win, and he's got an opportunity now to ride with Scherzer and try to get a championship as they get near the ends of their careers. So it's a great opportunity for Verlander, and that's why he's going to the Mets. And I don't think there's any mysteries about what he's getting himself into. And I know Buck Showalter is going to love having both of those guys in that rotation.
So I want to circle back to deGrom because, he was one of the all-time greats in Met history. And you've had a chance to call a number of his games. Give me your best Jacob deGrom game that you called, that you witnessed.
There was some really good ones over the years, that's for sure. I mean, there was one game in Miami where he had, I think, 14 strikeouts and he hit a home run. Jacob was a great hitter. When back in those old days when pitchers were still allowed to hit, deGrom could really put it together at the plate too. It was just the way that the fans took to deGrom's starts, because it was such a show. There was so much entertainment involved. And if he gave up a hit or if somebody got on base, you could almost feel the air come out of the ballpark a little bit, that there was always this anticipation that Jacob was going to throw a perfect game or a no-hitter every time he went out there. So when that moment didn't come, or when somebody did get a hit finally, or somebody got on base, the crowd almost was disappointed that there was even a base runner. That's how special Jacob deGrom was over these last few seasons. But he had some great starts for the Mets, even over the last year or two when he wasn't exactly healthy. He still put together some great outings, and it was just special to watch him every fifth day. It was a real privilege to get to watch him, and I hope he's healthy in Texas. I hope the Rangers get to see the real Jacob deGrom over these next 4 or 5 years.
We've had your partner, Howie Rose, on the show countless times. And whenever we bring Howie on to a national audience, I feel like I have to put the disclaimer out there that Howie is part Mets play-by-play man and 100% Mets historian, because there's just nobody that knows more about the brand than Howie. So as such, and as a guy who's a huge fan, what was his kind of read, and how did you feel sitting next to him during the thud that was the playoff series loss against the San Diego Padres? That must have hit him right in the gut.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that, because as we went into the third game of that series, the tie-breaking game, the decisive game against the Padres, Howie was certain that the Mets were going to win. I mean, 100% certain that we were going to go to L.A., that the Mets would play the Dodgers in the National League Division Series. He didn't even look at the possibility of a Mets loss in that game against the Padres. So at the end of it, after the Mets get one hit in that last game of the season and it's over, it did feel like it hit him in the gut. And he just never thought it was even possible. He thought that with that crowd at Citi Field, the home tie-breaking playoff game, that he was going to be able to call a Mets victory there. And he badly wants to call a Mets World Series win. It's been a long, long time now since the Mets have won a World Series, and Steve Cohen's trying to put this together to get, I think, specifically to get Howie Rose to call a championship. So I hope Howie gets that opportunity here soon, and nobody deserves it more than him. He's one of the best to ever do this, and I love him a lot, and I hope he gets a chance to call a championship soon.
One of the things that every team should do this. The Mets had Oldtimers Day this year.
Yeah.
How cool was that to bring Oldtimers Day back?
It was incredible, and the way the Mets did it was really well done. I mean, they brought back everybody pretty much, anybody from the last 6 decades of Mets baseball. They even had players from the original Mets in 1962. Certainly, the late 60s well represented, and then every decade since then. It's great to see guys like Rico Brogna and Howard Johnson at Citi Field and wearing a Mets uniform. To see Mike Piazza and Pedro Martinez in uniform again was very cool, and to see those guys on a baseball field playing. It was a really special day. The Mets announced that Willie Mays would have his number 24 retired that day. I mean, if any franchise is going to do an Old Timers Day, and I think all of them should, after watching that one at Citi Field, that they should call Jay Horwitz and call the Mets and get a read on how the Mets did it, because that was absolutely the right way to do it.
Hey, Wayne, we appreciate the visit this morning. Thanks for walking through the Mets fan psyche and going down memory lane on 2022 a little bit with us. Happy holidays to you and your family. Thanks again.